Okay, today I want to talk about Independent Project 4-6 in Access from your SimBook. This particular project is an independent project, and it involves a company by the name of Courtyard Medical Plaza. And what we're going to be doing in this project is Courtyard Medical Plaza wants us to add a form and a report to its database. And in this project we're going to create a form using the Form tool. We're going to edit that form in Layout View. We're going to add the current date to the form itself. We're going to move fields within the control layout. We're going to restrict the form to data entry, and we're going to test the functionality of the form itself. So we're ready to begin the project here. I'm going to go ahead. I've already downloaded the start file, and I'm going to select that file and bring it up for us. And we need to rename this file before we do anything. So let me click on File, and let me do a Save As, and Save Database As, and hit the Save As button. It's going to bring up the Save As window, and what I'm going to do here is scroll down to my memory stick, double click it, and then double click the Access Module folder where I save all my Access material, and then I'm going to rename the file as my initials, the word Access 4-6, and then I'm going to hit Save. Alright, so that renames the file, and then the next thing I need to do is enable content. If you see this on your file, you'll need to do the same. So just click the Enable Content button. Alright, so we're ready to begin this particular project, and we are, if you're following along, on Step 4. Step 4 says Create a Form using the blank Form button. So I'm going to come up to the Create tab here on the ribbon, and then I'm going to come across to the blank form button. I'm going to select that in the forms group, and that brings up the blank form with the controls. It also opens up the field list here on the right hand side, and in this project we're going to add all the fields from the physicians table to the form. So I'm going to click on the Show All Tables button, and that brings up two tables in this database. One is the physicians table, and one is the rent invoices table. So we're going to select the physicians table and click the plus sign in the box here, expand it, and these are the fields that we're going to be adding into the blank form. Now we're going to be adding all of the fields, and so the very first field that I need to add is the doctor ID. So I'm going to double click it, and that's going to bring that field over into the form itself. And then I'm going to add the next field, which is the first name, and to do that I'm going to double click it as well, because it's going to place it beneath the Dr. ID text box and its control label. So let me click on first name, double click it, and then double click last name, and then office number, and then primary specialty, and move-in date. Alright, so that added all of the fields here in the blank form that we needed to add. Alright, so now we're going to close the field list, and we're going to click that X to close it. Make sure you click the X on the field list and not this X or the one above it here, or you'll close the database. Alright, now we're going to save the form under the name Add New Physicians. So we're going to click the File button and Save As, and then select Save Object As, and then the Save As button again brings up the Save As dialog box. And remember, when we're creating new form names, we need to create them in camel case, so that's going to run all the words together and capitalize the first letter of each word. So we're going to do this particular form is going to be called Add New Physician. Okay. Now we're going to click OK here, and that's going to create that form in the All Access Data Objects list in the navigation pane for us, as well as changing it on this tab. Alright, so we're now up to step number 5. We're going to edit the form in Layout View. We're going to add a new column and new rows to the control layout and modify their size. So first thing we're going to be doing here is going into Layout View. And so let's click on the View button here under the Views group and select Layout View. Alright. Now we're going to move the specialty label and the text box to appear above the office label and text box. So here's the specialty label, and here's its associated text box, which is bound to the database. The specialty label is unbounded because it's not attached to or has any reference to the database itself, but its control field here, its the information over here does. Okay. All right, so in order to select that entire row, I'm going to come up and select the Arrange tab under the Form Layout Tools, and then I'm going to select Row here under Rows and Columns, and that selects the entire row. And to move it, I'm going to move into the specialty label and until the pointer turns into a four-headed arrow, which is the moving control pointer. And now I'm going to left click and drag it up until I see a line appear above Office and release it, and that will move the specialty label and its control box, text box rather, into and the area above Office and its text box. Alright, so now we are in step number 5B. We're going to add 2 rows below the tenant since row. So this is the tenant since row, so I'm going to click in that label field. I could click over here as well, but I choose to click over here. And then I'm going to add 2 rows below, so I'm going to come up to the Rows and Columns, to the Insert Below, and double click that in succession to add 2 rows down here. Now I'm going to add 1 column to the right side of the layout, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click anywhere on the right hand side, the rightmost column in any field, and I'm going to come up here and select Insert Right to select or insert a column rather to the right of this particular one here. So that inserts a column off to the right hand side. Now we're at 5D, and it asks us to adjust the width of the columns so that all 3 are of similar size. So I'm going to choose this one as the measure for all the other columns. And so I want to create in the first column, I want to click anywhere here, and I want to come out of this particular field and over to the right hand side until it turns into a double-headed arrow, which is the resizing arrow, and I want to left click and I want to expand it till it's about the size of the one to the right of it. Okay, so these are about roughly the same size. And now I want to come over to the right column, select anywhere here, and now I want to make this column the same size as the middle one. So I'm going to go over and point my pointer to the right hand side till it turns into the double-headed arrow. Left click and drag it over as well. And that's about the same size as the one to its left, and so I'm going to release it. So now we have the 2 rows added and the additional column off to the right. Alright, so now we're at 5E, and we want to adjust the height of the last row and make the height of that last row approximately twice as high as any other. So I'm going to click in the last row, and I'm going to come down until the pointer becomes a double-headed arrow again, becomes a resizing pointer. Left click, I'm going to double the size of that particular row and then release it. And so this particular field now is about twice the height of the one above it. Alright, so now we're up to step 6, and it says add a command button, a title, and date to the form. So we're going to add a button in the bottom row of the leftmost column, which is where I currently have this selected, and we're going to in that particular area we're going to add a button to save a record. Now the button to save a record is a record operations category, and so what we're going to do here is I'm going to come over to the Design tab and click on the Design tab in the Form Layout Tools area, and here is the button here under the Controls group. And I'm going to select it, and I'm going to come down to this area here, which is the leftmost bottom row. I'm going to select it, and it brings up the command button wizard. Now we are going to be adding here a save a record, which is a record operations category. So let's come down and select record operations, and then save record on the right hand side for action. I'm going to click the next button. we're going to make this a text box label here, button rather than a picture for our button label. And so now that I've selected text, we want to change the wording here to add new, to save physician record. We're at step number 6B. So let's click in here and between save and record, and let's type in the word physician and space. So save physician record is the text title of the button, and then we're going to click the next button, and then we're going to create a name for this particular button, and we're going to call it the Add Physician Form Save button. Okay, and then we're going to click Finish. All right, and that created that button for us here on the left. All right, so the next thing we want to do, now we're up to 6D, we're going to add a second button into the bottom row middle column, and this button is going to add a new record. All right, so that is a record operations category, and so we're going to come back up and select the button control, come down into the middle area. You need to make sure it's selected there, middle area, and select it so it brings up the command button wizard again. And in this second button, we're going to be adding a new record, and that's record operations. So let's come down to record operations here on the category, and add a new record is already selected for us on the right hand side. So I'm going to select next button, and then I'm going to come up and we're going to again add text here for the name of the button, not picture. And so we're going to click on the text, and then we're going to change the wording here to add new physician. So let's click to the right of record and backspace, and let's add new physician as the name of that text label on the button itself. And then we're going to select next, and then we're going to rename that button Add Physician Form Add Button. So Add Physician Form Add Button. Okay, and then we're going to select Finish, and that adds the new button here in the middle. Okay, and finally on the right hand side bottom row, we're going to add a third button into that bottom row area to the rightmost column to close the form itself. So we're going to come back up to the button control, to the button here under the controls area. We're going to select it again, come down to the rightmost area here on the right column and select it. That brings up our command button wizard again. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to add the form close, which is a form operations category. So let's come down to form operations and select it. So this is the close form action, and we're going to select next. We're going to come back in. It's going to be a text label again, so we're going to click text, and we're going to go ahead and accept the default name here for close form. I'm going to select next, and then we're going to give that button a name. We're going to call it Add Physician Close Button, Form Close Button. So Add Physician Form Close Button. Okay, and then we're going to click Finish, and that adds the third button on our form. All right, next we're going to add a title to our form here. So I'm going to come up to the header and footer group here on the Design tab of the Form Layout Tools area, and I'm going to select Title, and that's going to open up the title area for us. And we're going to call this title Add New Physician. Now it's already selected for us here, so I'm going to click in after the word add and before the word new, and put a space in there, and then between the word new and physician, and put a space in there. So Add New Physician is going to be our new title. And now we are up to step 6K, and we're going to add a date to the form. We're going to use the day, month, year format, and we're going to deselect the include time. So I'm going to come back up to this header and footer group, and select the date and time, and it's going to open up the date and time dialog for us. We want to deselect the include time because we don't want to include the time here. We want to select the day, month, year format, and then we're going to click OK to put that on the form, and here it appears here in the title area. Alright, so the next step tells us that we want to adjust the size and placement of the title and the date to look similar to figure 4-145. So I'm going to select in here, and I'm going to make this area, this box, smaller, and then I'm going to move this particular box over for us here. So I moved it over into the form itself, and then I'm going to click out of that area. And so now that brings us up to step 6M. We're going to save the changes to the form, and the revised form is going to look similar to 4-145. So let me come up here and right-click and save this form. Okay, so now we're up to step 7. And in step 7, we're going to restrict the form to data entry. And so we're going to do that by clicking on the properties sheet here, which is in the tools group. So let me click properties sheet, and that opens up the properties sheet. We want to make sure that we are on the form properties, and right now we're on details. So let's down arrow and select form. And then let's come down. We're on the data tab here by default, so let's come down to data entry. And in this area, we're going to select yes in the data entry property box. So let's come over to the no here and select it, and down arrow and select yes. And then we're going to select yes in the allow additions property. It's already selected for us. And then we're going to, in the allow deletions and allow edits, we don't really have to do anything there since they have no impact here. Now we're going to go ahead and save the form again. So let's right click and save the form. We're going to close the property sheet, and then we're going to switch to the form view. So let's go back over to the view button here under the views group, select it and click on the form view. And now we're going to verify that the icons available in the navigation pane bar allow us only to add records and not to edit or delete existing records. Alright, so if we try to, it should allow us to only add a record but not to delete the record or to do anything else with it or edit it in any way. And so I've already verified that. And so the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to export the particular form out, this particular file rather, out so that we can submit it for grading. And so now what I need to do is I want to click in the external data tab and select the Excel button because we're going to export it out to an Excel spreadsheet. We want to make sure that this export data with formatting and layout is checked, and it is. It's grayed out. We can't change it. So I want to select the Browse button, and then I want to come over here and select the memory stick, the access module that I have, and I want to come down to the file name, and I want to type in my initials, the word access, and 4-6. Click the Save button, and then I want to click OK here, and then make sure that the Save Export Steps is unchecked, and it is, and click Close. Alright, and now with having completed that, I can go ahead and right click and close the form, and then I can go ahead and close the database. Alright, so now we've got that closed. The next thing I want to do is upload and save the file to SimNet. So let's come over to my memory stick, select it, and Access Module folder, and then I want to find the Excel spreadsheet DLC Access 4-6, select it and select Open. That uploads the file, and then I want to submit the file for grading. and it has graded it, and I did get 100%. You should as well if you follow along with the steps that we've done in this particular project. So this completes independent project 4-6 for access and involving Courtyard Medical Plaza.